Welcome, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements just before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of the many different sessions happening, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the site that you signed up for this session. So now I'm going to turn things over to our presenters.
Well, thank you so much. Welcome everyone to the Center College session. My name is Thomas Becker. I am a proud Center alum, class of 2015, and I am an admission counselor here at Center College. We are going to dive in here rather quickly because we want to make good use of this time we have together, but I will let my colleagues introduce themselves before we do that. So Adriana, you're up.
Hi, everybody. My name is Adriana Martin. I'm an Assistant Director for Diversity Recruitment in our office, also a Center alum. Delighted to be here with you all, and I can't wait to share the Center story. Lauren.
Thank you all so much. My name is Lauren Samuelson. I'm Assistant Director of Admission at Center, also a very proud Center alum from 2016. And thank you for spending your Sunday afternoon with us. I'm super excited to talk more about Center.
Yeah, so we're going to dive right in. Lauren and Adriana are going to turn their videos off, so y'all will be stuck with me for a little bit here at the beginning. But the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen, and fingers crossed, you are going to be seeing what I'm seeing, which is almost everything you need to know about Center College. Center is a really special place. It's one that gets a lot of accolades for a lot of different things. We are not unique among liberal arts colleges in that. What makes Center special is our story. Center is a place that gathers people from every corner of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, all over the country and all over the world, brings them together for a transformative educational experience, and then sends them out. We often talk about Center being a home for us. It's kind of a home base. Center is a place where important conversations happen, and it's a place where we expect people to gather and then go out and change the world through lives of learning, leadership, and service. Center is located in Danville, Kentucky. Danville is a thriving small town of about 20,000 people right in the heart of the Bluegrass. If you are looking to get a city fix, we've got Lexington right up the road, about 35 minutes to the south side. And if you're looking for a bigger city, we've got Louisville about an hour and a half away. We also have some rural reaches of America within a decent drive of our campus. So we kind of occupy this middle ground when it comes to our environment. We are the only college in Danville. We are absolutely the most charming small town in Kentucky. And we are a top 10 college town in the South. And when you think about the many towns in the South that have colleges, we're pretty honored by that. We are a booming town. This is not a sleepy little village. It's a place where there are restaurants and shops, and college students become intimately ingrained with the life of this city and of this county. And we like that. We like for you to be at home where you're living, and we really like for you to feel a sense of place. And Danville's a really great spot to do that. About 1,400 students call Center College their college home. A little bit about those 1,400 or so people. About 52% of them are going to identify as female. We do our best to keep relative gender identity balance. Nearly a quarter of students identify as students of color, with another 6% of students coming to Center's campus from abroad. We really value that our campus should look like the world our students are going to enter, not necessarily the environment they came from or the environment surrounding them in Kentucky. So we're really proud of that element of diversity being present on our campus. And finally, 98% of Center students live on campus. We are a highly, highly, highly residential college, and we expect that when you come to us, you're going to invest yourself fully in the experience. Unless you have a family or medical exception, you're going to be on campus all 4 years in guaranteed housing, and it really helps to develop a sense of community. When we think about the typical Center College student, I know that I am not alone among my colleagues when I say, oh, well, there really isn't a typical Center student. But Center students tend to have some attributes in common. Center students tend to be very curious. They tend to value collaboration more so than competition. This is a place where we definitely have an all boats rise mentality. So when one of us is doing well, we're all doing well. Center students are, as a former colleague of ours says, jeans and t-shirt students, because dressing up to go to class and putting on airs would be very pretentious, but showing up in your pajamas would be lazy and not really show a sense of investment in why you're there. Center students value friendship. It's one of the hallmarks of the center experience that you are going to leave this place with far more friends than you entered. And these are folks who are going to walk alongside you through the beginning of your career and through the rest of your life. Center is that grounding place for so many people. I am one of them. And if that sounds like an experience that you'd like to take advantage of, not one that's necessarily lay it on thick or really distant, it's a nice friendship-based place. And if you're looking for that family and community feel, Center might be a really good fit for you. I'm going to turn things over to Adriana.
Thanks, Thomas. Now that you've heard a little bit about kind of the personality of our students, let's talk a little bit about the academic environment at Center. So like Thomas said, we are a very small place. Because of that, we have a very small student to faculty ratio, and that relationship building between students and professors really is an important part of life at Center, much like it is at any good premier liberal arts college. Professor contact is really important. You know, these are the folks who will end up writing letters of recommendation for students. They'll serve as references when students apply for jobs. And so having a relationship with professors beyond just the classroom, you know, getting to know your professors as people, I think is really important. Office hours will be a huge part of life at Center, as will, you know, engaging with folks that are experts in their fields. But I think the things that make Center distinctive come next. So this, when you're thinking about the average Center classroom, this is what we're talking about. So we have an average class size of 18 students. No class will have more than 30. And then 60% of courses have 20 or fewer students. I would say as you're getting into higher upper level courses, especially within some sort of major or minor, classes are definitely getting smaller and smaller. So you might have 5 students in a class. You definitely have to do your reading. You will get called on in a class of 5 students. But again, you're getting to do high-level academic work with folks that are experts in their field. What I think is really special about the Center classroom, though, is the more qualitative experience that our students get. You know, we are a place where students like to do well. We're a place that's academically rigorous, but we're also a place where you get a good deal of support. I always think that there's this really great balance that students find at Center. You know, you're challenged, but you're comforted. I think our students like doing well and they find a sense of accomplishment in a job well done. But like Thomas said, we're not cutthroat, we're really collaborative. And I think that balance is really great. And as I've said in the past in some of these presentations, it really does make it serendipitous that our name is Center, because there is this great kind of defining balance between the Center academic experience. If you are interested in our list of majors and minors, this is a really great summary of our academic programs. When you look at our list of majors and minors, you'll notice that we have a pretty traditional liberal arts curriculum. So we have pretty broadly defined majors. You're not going to look at this list and see something super specific like marketing or sports management. We definitely send students into those career fields, but our goal really is to give students transferable soft skills that research suggests employers want in the folks that they hire and in the folks that they promote. So you will leave Center knowing how to write well, how to think critically, how to solve problems creatively, how to present in a way that's really concise. And all of those skills are not only preparing you for the first job that you get after college, but every single job that you get after that. If you are a student, though, that does have a really specific path, you do have kind of a more traditional trajectory that you'd like to follow, we do a lot of that advising through these pre-professional programs. Like I said, these are done in what we call an advisory capacity. So a student will choose whatever major they would like to major in. It doesn't have to necessarily be traditionally related to the pre-professional program, but you have an assigned advisor for whichever graduate program you'd like to go into, and that advisor is an additional advisor to a major advisor. So they work with you, make sure that you have the prerequisites that you need for graduate school, that you're taking advantage of research or internships that make your application competitive, and then they're guiding you through the application process. These degree partnerships in engineering, nursing, and teaching work similarly. We have designated advisors for these programs, though these are pathways that lead to advanced study at other colleges or universities. One hallmark of the academic experience that I think is really special at Center is the availability of research opportunities. We'll talk a little bit about some other aspects of life at Center that are kind of built into the Center experience, but research is a really special one. Research is extremely accessible to our students. We have a good number of students that will spend summer with us and will conduct research throughout the summer. Sometimes that's independent research that they're getting mentored by faculty on. Sometimes students are working with faculty on the research that those faculty members are doing, but it's this really great environment of deep learning and really getting your hands dirty in the area of study that you are dedicating yourself to. Research exists in every single discipline. Research isn't just within the sciences. We have great social science research, we have great humanities research, but it's really as easy as reaching out to a professor, showing an interest in diving into some sort of area of study, and then making a plan to make that happen. I think that these research experiences tend to be really transformative for students, and so it's something that we tend to be pretty proud of. That's most of what I have about academics. I'll pass it over to Lauren to talk a bit about the student life experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adriana. Just looking into more of our campus life, I know for me, when I was going to college, one of my biggest concerns was being bored, which sounds like a really small concern, but it was a big deal for me. And coming into Center, there were so many events, so many organizations, so many different ways to get involved. And that's something that I've seen through all of our students at Center as well. When I'm asked about what a Center student looks like, one word I use often is multifaceted. I think our students are typically involved in a variety of activities, lots of different involvements on campus. And so if you have a lot of different interests and things you want to plug into on a college campus, Center could be a really great fit for you. There are over 2,000 campus events per year, over 87 different clubs and organizations. If we don't have it, you can add it. It's a really great place to go and share your involvement and grow in what you're interested in too. One of my favorite parts of student life is a tradition called a Center called Cowan banners. The way we advertise campus events, activities, social gatherings, service opportunities is that our students will paint bed sheets and hang them on the balcony of our dining hall called Cowan. As a student, I would go in on a Tuesday or Wednesday and plan my whole weekend or week, and it's really just a great way to show how inclusive our campus is, that everyone's being invited to these campus events and that they're open for any student that wants to get involved. On the right, you can see some stats about where our students are involved. Over 40% of our students are involved in the arts, so that could be visual or performing arts. We have the Jones Visual Arts Center on campus that offers classes in ceramics, drawing and painting, glass blowing. We also have the Norton Arts Center on campus, Norton Center for the Arts on campus, that you can go to and see different theater productions, shows, plays, events. Also home to 2 vice presidential debates. They bring in a variety of shows throughout the year that our students can go to for free. And they also have a lot of different spaces for our students to be in orchestra groups, they're in plays, a lot of arts involvement there. We'll talk a little bit about athletics in a second, but over 40% of our students are also involved in athletics, so they get to be involved in a variety of things. And then service is a big hallmark of the Center experience as well. You can start getting involved with service during our first year orientation, and it's also integrated into classes and all student involvement too. Perfect. And so we talked a little bit about athletics, but we are Division III. When it comes to college athletics, we are the center colonels. About 40% of our students are involved in athletics. Division III is really nice because we are a true student athlete experience. Your academics and studies will come first, but we're also very competitive when it comes to our athletic programs. We're winning conference championships every year. They do train very hard, but they also have these really incredible team dynamics. And so it's really fun whether you're an athlete or a not athlete. We call our non-athlete students NARPs, which stands for non-athletic regular people. And as a NARP, I loved going to athletic events on campus. It was a great way to cheer on my friends and classmates. It's very common on a Saturday or Sunday to walk around campus to all the different sporting activities that are going on. Perfect. And so another big part of the center experience is study abroad. And we have been a national leader in study abroad for the past decade or so. We are sending close to 85% of our students abroad during their center experience. Close to 30% are going more than once. We have two major times for when you can go abroad. We have our Hallmark semester-long programs that are in several different locations all over the world. Our three center-in programs are in Merida, Mexico, London, England, and Strasbourg, France. Those are led by center faculty. You're taking center courses, but we also have more exchange programs and more independent programs in places like Japan, China, Northern Ireland, Scotland. Those are also all over. Those semester-long programs are the same cost as living on campus, and they are for the full 3-month term. But if that's too long, we also have a January term. That's our center term, where we only take one class for 3 weeks, and that's also a really popular time to go abroad. So students will go all over the world during center term as well. Those trips seem to be a little bit more exotic. This past year, they went to Finland, New Zealand, South Africa. I took the Art of Walking one center term where we hiked all over France, Germany, and Switzerland. And so there's a lot of different options. If you want to go abroad, center's a great place to look into. And here are some lovely pictures of study abroad that you can see. One tradition that I don't know if it's on here or not, but should be on here is that a lot of our students do spell out center with their bodies when they're abroad. It's very common to see these pictures. We have them all over campus, but we also have these center pennants that they'll send you when you go abroad. And so it's a great way to show your center pride when you're all over the world. And we're also known for our center commitment. We've had the center commitment for over 20 years. You might hear similar promises or guarantees from other schools, but we were one of the most original and one of the beginnings of these commitments. And we call it the center commitment, and we say it's something that we're guaranteeing to all of our students. And so it just really shows you the fundamentals of a center experience. So we do guarantee that all of our center students will be able to have a research or an internship opportunity. They'll get to study abroad, and they'll graduate within 4 years. That graduating within 4 years is a big part of the center experience. I know for me, coming into college, getting to graduate with everyone that I started my first year with in the Norton Center on campus was just something that was really special. Center is a 4-year experience because we want you to go and do really incredible things after center as well. So, all right, I'll pass it back over to Thomas.
Well, thanks, Lauren. You might be wondering to yourself, what do those center college folk look like when they arrive on campus and when they leave? This slide here, I think, tells the center story really well. We have an over 90% first year retention rate, which means that 9 in every 10 students who arrive on our campus as a first year will come back for their second year. This is well above the national average for all colleges and universities and for liberal arts colleges, and no other Kentucky college or university comes close. We have an 82% 4-year graduation rate, which, like Lauren said, is really important to us. We want to get you out of here in 4 years so that you can go out and change the world. This is, again, well above the national average for liberal arts colleges, and no other Kentucky college or university comes close to meeting this 4-year commitment. And then the last little thing on here, the Alumni Factor, an independent organization, has said that center college graduates are the happiest alums in the country. They base this on a number of factors, including alumni willingness to give, alumni satisfaction with their job experience, alumni satisfaction with their preparation for their career. And they said center college graduates are going to be the happiest ones of any college or university in the country. So the story that this very simple slide tells is folks come to center college, stay at center college, graduate from center college on time, and are really glad they went to center more than any other place in Kentucky, and especially in the case of the last one, any other place in the country. And that's a pretty compelling story for us. We stand by our commitment to help students out the door. We are not a place that's going to give you a great education and then wave and say good luck. We have a dedicated staff on campus in the Center for Career and Professional Development who are going to work with you from the time you step foot on campus as a first year, to make sure that you are exploring what you want to explore and making sure that your vocational and educational goals are on track. These are the folks who are going to work with you on resume building, interview workshops. They are an inexhaustible resource. I remember going for the first time as a first year and being told, come early and come often. And that's our mentality with this preparation. We want you to live into your 4-year experience at Center. We also want you to be prepared for what's next. When folks graduate from Center, approximately 2/3 of them are going to go right into the workforce. As you might expect with our priority on a global education, a lot of those folks are going to work abroad in some type of context. But after that, it's really a smattering. We don't have a clear-cut, everybody does this thing when they graduate from Center. The same is true for those who are going to go pursue advanced study immediately upon graduation, which is about 1/3. As you might expect, most of those folks are going to work in allied health or medical related fields or law school. Those are the biggest graduate programs in the country. And we have really great placement rates for both of those programs. Our pre-med program is one of the top 20 programs in the country. In the last set of rankings, we tied with Harvard and MIT. So we are a school that's consistently punching above our weight and providing quality experiences to prepare students for rigorous graduate programs. The little graph in the corner is really important. I think because it shows that Center is a place that inspires lifelong learning. So even though only 1/3 of students are going to go immediately after graduation to get an advanced degree, another 1/3 will go back at some point during their career. So continuing to learn, really important to Center College graduates. I'm going to turn things over to Adriana now, and she's going to give a little update about what's been happening, what's coming up next, and some good stuff from Center C.
Thanks, Thomas. Things are luckily still growing and changing at Center. We have a number of exciting updates to share. So Lauren did a great job talking about our study abroad programs. We're also really fortunate to have some really great study away programs where we send students to have equally transformative experience domestically. Our flagship program started in Washington, D.C., and for a number of years, that program has been really successful. We're fortunate to now start a program in New York City. We're hoping and waiting that we can start this program with students as soon as possible, but the program will be really exciting. It'll have a really great arts and culture lens. It'll have a really great anthropology lens, and the kind of hands-on learning that students will get to do will be really exciting. On our own campus, we are undergoing some great renovation on Olin Hall. Olin Hall is one of our science buildings. Students typically will take classes like math, chemistry, computer science, environmental studies will get a new lab. And so this is the last of our main academic buildings that's getting a nice facelift. We're getting state-of-the-art labs, we're getting new classroom spaces, and we're excited to see the kind of in-depth research that students will get to do in this new space. Downtown, like Thomas said, we have a really great relationship with our local town, and so we're also fortunate to have a really great program housed in the downtown part of Danville called CenterWorks. CenterWorks is a really great program focused on social entrepreneurship. So if you're a student that has a big kind of focus on maybe social justice, maybe you are really interested in business, but you're also interested in how businesses can benefit the community, this could be a really great fit for you. It's an ongoing program that students can be a part of. There's some really great summer training that these students undergo, but it's new to us. I think we'll get to really affect the Danville community in a really great positive way while providing a great learning experience for our students. This program will also work really well with the new business major that we're hoping to get approved soon. And so if you're interested in that kind of thing, there's a lot of stuff coming to Center within the business realm. We did just welcome a new president, Dr. Milton Moreland. We're really excited to have him. He's coming to us from another small liberal arts college. I think he appreciates the kind of close-knit learning that liberal arts colleges have. He's been here for about 3 months at this point. We're really excited to welcome him. And then lastly, we are still staying centered. We're staying connected, even though we're socially distant from one another. The center community is still as strong as it always is. We do have a number of students that are with us on campus, which has been really great. It has been a really successful time of having students on campus, but even those students that have chosen to learn virtually with us are still as connected and in the fabric of the center community as if they were on campus, which is great. All right, if you do think that you would like to apply to center, this is a little bit of information on our plans and deadlines. I think what's more important than knowing the physical dates is really knowing the difference between the different kinds of plans. So early decision is our only binding option. Early decision really is for the student that 100% knows that center is where they would like to be in the fall. Early decision is a binding option, and so when you're applying early decision, you're making a commitment to center. You're saying, if I am admitted to center, then I will attend if I am accepted. Again, this is for the student that feels so sure about their college choice that they're ready to make that kind of binding commitment to center. Students don't have to commit early decision anywhere, but if a student is choosing to send in an early decision application, they can only send an early decision application to one school. Early action and regular decision are our next 2 application deadlines. Both of these plans are non-binding plans, and in many ways they work the same way, except they're working on a different timetable. Early action and regular decision are not binding, so again, you don't have that tying commitment, but for early action, students are applying earlier, hearing back from us earlier. It's a great option for that student who already has their application materials ready, they're ready to submit their applications, they're ready to hear back, whereas regular decision, you're applying later, hearing back from us later, and might be a great option for a student who maybe needs a little bit more time to dot I's, cross T's, and really work on that essay or on the other aspects of the application. Regardless of the application plan that you choose, we are giving students the same consideration for scholarship and aid. So ultimately, it really is a personal decision that a student will make. All right, Lauren, you will close us out.
Yes, so we just wanted to show you a visual of our admission counseling staff. So you can find here most of our admission counselors on staff. Your admission counselor is here to answer questions, talk you through the process. We do offer optional interviews that we're doing over Zoom and the phone this fall. And so I really recommend going to our admission website and finding your counselor and reaching out to them. Let them know you're in this session, let them know you're interested in center. I know when I was applying to center, I got very close to my admission counselor, and it really helped me as I was going through the process. So we're here, we want to get to know you. We're so excited for your process, and we're excited to help you as you're going through your college decision. We also want to connect with you virtually. There's a lot of different ways to connect with colleges virtually these days. I know we're in definitely a different time to looking for colleges, but one benefit of everything is that there is a lot more information and video and just a lot of stuff out there that you can check in and see. We are on social media at Admission Center. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure and follow us there. On Instagram, we're having different student takeovers throughout the week. We're showing different parts of the tour stop, so you can get a really good idea of that. We also have a guidebook app that you can check out to see a walking tour of campus and to see the different tour spots. And we're also offering live virtual tours with our center ambassadors on Wednesday evenings and Sunday afternoons. So be sure to check out our website for those too. And I'll pass it back over to Thomas for questions.
Well, and I will stop sharing my screen and invite all of us to pop back on. Thank you, friends, for diving into center with me. Y'all, we would invite, we did get a couple private message questions, but if you would like to make use of that Q&A tab down at the bottom, you are most welcome to do that. Any question is fair game. We are all center alums. It's a place that is very near and dear to each of us and is not without its challenges and quirks, but it's a place that's inspired a lot of growth in us. One of the first questions, and it seems that we get this quite a bit. Lauren, are first years able to have cars on campus? Could you talk about what that's going to look like for a student who's thinking, I want my car on campus?
Of course, students are allowed to have cars on campus that first year. It is a $50 car fee to have your car on campus throughout the year, and you're definitely allowed to have it. I will say, as a student, we typically, and center students typically don't leave campus often, but you're welcome to have your car in case you want to run to Starbucks or get groceries or anything like that. But I didn't have a car my first year, and I often felt like I can jump in with friends on those trips too. So totally up to you.
Awesome, thank you. And Adriana, I wonder, you spoke a bit about the academic programming at Center. Double majoring, what does it look like to take on multiple courses of study at Center College?
Yeah, that's great, thanks. So numbers wise or percentage wise, about a quarter, so 25% of our students will end up double majoring. It's definitely something that's doable. I think because our students, as Thomas said, tend to be really curious students, we get a lot of students that are interested in a lot of different areas of study, and they often are finding ways to include that variety into whatever major or minor that they choose. So it's definitely possible. About a quarter of our students do it. I will say it's a little bit easier depending on what you're actually majoring in. So I, for example, was a double major at Center. I had a sociology and Spanish double major. I think those programs worked really well together. They both were super demanding programs, and both also, like many programs at Center, encourage kind of cross-disciplinary learning. And so as two disciplines, they worked really well together. I will say, though, that if you're majoring in a science, particularly a science that has a good deal of lab components, it can be a little bit more tricky, just kind of timing-wise, because you have those extra lab components that's filling up a class space that you wouldn't then be able to fill with another sort of class space. So it can be a little tricky, but I will say work with your academic advisor if it's something that you're interested in. Ultimately, they'll help you decide, one, if it's a good plan of action, and two, they'll make sure that you're on track to graduate in 4 years, regardless of what you study.
Awesome, thank you. Lauren, you spoke about involvement on campus, right? We are a place where you are going to be spending a lot more time outside of a classroom than inside of a classroom being instructed. Notoriously, though, that does lead to some over-involvement on Center students' parts. I wonder if you might talk about what involvement looks like for a Center student, but also that work-life balance and how people kind of find their groove at Center.
Yeah, I think a great way our students find out what they want to get involved with is an event that we have every fall called Expo. Usually we have it on campus on Walnut Street, and it's a huge outdoor festival. This year we did it over Zoom, and there are different ways to connect with our organizations, but typically it's a big on-campus to do, and it's very fun. They have free pizza and lots of gifts, so you want to go anyways. But that's where you kind of find the clubs and organizations that you want to be a part of. I know as a first-year student, a lot of our students will go there and kind of just sign up for everything. They try a little bit of everything. And so I think that first year, a lot of students will dip their toes in a lot of things. I remember as a first year student, I got involved in probably too many things, but I think what our students do well is that they look inside themselves, figure out what they're involved with, and find what really matters to them. Our students do have a lot of leadership opportunities on campus. I know several of us were presidents of different student organizations and involved with that. And I think by junior and senior year, our students are finding what they love, what they enjoy. And I think that's a really good lesson for the real world. You find out what you want to spend and give your time to, and kind of figure out what's giving you life as well. And so Yeah, I think the work-life balance is something that all college students deal with. I think center students do tend to be over-involved, but they do spend time figuring out what really matters to them. I know Thomas and I are both very involved with service and our Bonner Scholars organization, but I was also a leader in my Greek organization. And so people do find a few different things that really matter to them, and I think dedicate their time to that well. So.
Thomas, I'm seeing a question that hopefully you can answer. I know test optional is kind of a big thing. Lots of different schools are going test optional, but students are feeling a bit like it's a little different from school to school. So is center test optional? If so, how does that work?
Yes, great question. So test optional, as many of you have probably experienced, is something that has hit a bit of an acceleration point in the light of COVID, in the light of not being able to test and not being able to prepare well when you are able to test. So Center has adopted a test optional policy. The way we are describing this policy is a do no harm test optional policy. So for students who choose to send us their test scores, SAT or ACT, we will super score whatever you send us. If it will benefit you in the reading and evaluation of your application, we'll make sure to include it. But if it's not going to help that review, we're going to ignore it. What we have done for students who choose not to send in their test scores, we have removed that portion of the evaluation process and reweighted everything else equally. So this isn't one of those situations where you're like, oh, crud, you know, I'm going to have to submit another writing sample, or I'm going to have to pay extra super close attention to my grades now. Yes, we want you to do well. Yes, we want you to have a good foundation of writing that you can build on here at Center. But we feel very strongly that we don't bring testers to our campus. We bring human beings who are going to be involved, invested community members. So yes, are you going to have to take exams? Sure. But we've known for a long time that testing isn't necessarily going to be the make or break thing for any of the applicants to Center College. So for those of you who are interested in pursuing the test optional route, I commend it to you. I would encourage you to talk with your admission counselor here at Center, but also your guidance counselor or college counselor at your school to see if that's going to be the right choice for you. But we want you to know, and this is going to be one of those like, you're going to have to trust us on this one, that you are not going to be harmed in any way in your evaluation by sending us scores. If it's going to help you, we are absolutely going to include it. And if it's not going to help you, we're going to ignore it. We want to see the best version of yourself. So please feel free to have that conversation with us to see if that's going to be the best thing for you. We have a question in here about counselor emails. I can actually share my screen and point you in the right direction for folks who are interested in meeting their admission counselor. So what you are going to want to do here, friends, let me see if I can share screen here again. Hold on one second. The wonders of Zoom, right? All right, so you all should see Dr. Milton Moreland. Is that looking right, friends? So if you are on the Center website, center.edu, and you scroll over to apply, and then go down here to admission staff, you will see a lovely color-coded map for those of you who are outside of Kentucky or Tennessee. We are in the process of updating this, so take my word for it that most of it's correct, except for Kentucky and Tennessee. So if you are a Kentucky student, you will have any number of our admission counselors. We sort by county. For those of you who are in larger metropolitan areas, Lauren is the contact for Fayette and Jessamine counties, and our colleague Annie Murphy is the contact for Jefferson County students. So if you are looking for those right away, those tend to be larger groups, but all you need to do is scroll down here and select any of our colleagues. So for example, our colleague Pam, she works with students from Hawaii and these 5 Kentucky counties. You just need to go through. If you have a specific inquiry about your Kentucky county or your area of Tennessee, please feel free to throw it in the chat or message us directly. All of our emails, the 3 of us who are here today, are first name dot last name at center.edu. So feel free to shoot any or all of us a line. We'd be happy to connect you with the right person, or else just feel free to peruse the website. But thank you for that question there. One more question, and this is one that I like to close with. No one asked this, but I feel like it's really important to show what makes Center special for us. You know, we are people who love this place, and there are some very distinctive, fun Center traditions. Lauren, I wonder if you might share your favorite Centerism, and then Adriana, and then I'll close us out.
Of course. My favorite center tradition or center thing is an event called Honor Walk. It was started by our past president, John Roush, who was our president for 22 years. He added quite a bit of traditions on campus, but my favorite by far is called Honor Walk. It's an event that happens during your senior year. There are two different events, kind of, but the first is the night before your first day of class as a senior student at Center. They have a ceremony behind Old Center, which is our oldest building on campus, finished in 1820, absolutely beautiful. But behind that building, they give all of our seniors a token called an honor that has our seal on it. And you have your entire senior year to think about the person on campus or off campus that has influenced you the most while you were a Center student. And then the night before graduation, there's a beautiful ceremony right outside of Old Center, so on the other side of the building. And students get to walk through Old Center with the person that has meant the most to them while they were a Center student and give them this honor token to kind of just show them how much that relationship has meant to them, how much their mentorship, friendship, guidance has meant to them. And you would think it would be a lot of like faculty members and higher staff members, but I'm always encouraged to see that it's people who also work on in our athletic staff and in the dining hall, and people just all across campus, family, friends. You know, it could be a friend from Center too, and it's just really, really special to see those relationships that are formed, and just really heartwarming to see how much it matters to the people that are being honored as well. And so it's definitely probably my favorite Center tradition.
No, I love the honor walk too. It's just like such a great practice of gratefulness, which I do think is a muscle that needs to be practiced. So thanks for sharing that, Lauren. Gosh, I don't know if this has a name, and if it does, it totally escapes me, so I'm sorry, but I love the walk that I think Lauren or Thomas explained at one point, but you know, so Old Center, like Lauren said, is this really great iconic building. We also have the Norton Center for the Arts. And between the two, there's this really great pathway that kind of connects the heart of campus. You kind of walk through the academic buildings. And so as a first year student for opening convocation, which is kind of the big event that opens the year every single year, all of the first years line up in front of Old Center, and as a class, walk that pathway to the Norton Center. And the pathway is lined by all of the professors and staff members who are kind of cheering and clapping. And so you start off your center journey that way, but then your class never makes that walk again until graduation day. And on graduation day, as you kind of the walk to the graduation ceremony is that same walk that you did from Old Center to the Norton Center. And your professors are there, and it's just so much more meaningful. And I still remember making that walk and it feeling so surreal. And it was this perfect kind of circle that bookended the center experience, and just a great reflection on like how much you grew and how much you learned and how many relationships you gained within those 4 years, and how different you were when you were making that walk as a first year student to who you were when you were making that walk your senior year. And it's just so special. It's so simple because it's just a walk, but I think when you're actually making that walk as a senior, it just takes on this whole new meaning. So that's my favorite.
You all picked like the beautiful, like poetic, symbolic moments. I'm like, I really like no-bake cookies in the dining hall. They're great too. Yeah, center is a neat place. And I think for me, if I had to summarize one thing, I think it's when you have those moments where you realize that it's not going to last. I think that when you have those moments with your friends, whether you're working on a paper or having a meal, and they come so few and far between, but I love the way you say that, Adriana, you know, exercising your gratitude muscle, like it hits you like a ton of bricks. And I haven't experienced that in any place I have ever worked or worshiped or eaten the way that I experience it at Center College, you know, those 4 years where it was like, wow, this is going to end. And what an opportunity to be grateful for it and live into it right now. So I think those reset buttons that happen every so often as a center student are things that we really lean hard into. So if this sounds like the type of place for you, or if you're a college counselor for your students, if you're a parent for your child, have them connect with us. We are eager to have these conversations. As admission counselors, it is our job to counsel you through this process. It is not our job to be center salespeople. We could do that. We're really good at it. We love this place and can say really nice things about it. But we're really so grateful that you chose to spend this time with us and learn more about this place. I think I speak for Lauren and Adriana that this is a really cool spot, and we're grateful that you joined us today. So thanks a lot. Y'all take care.
Thank you for joining us today. When you close this window, there'll be a very brief 4-question survey that we hope that you can provide us some feedback. Also, this was just one of the many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions. In about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as other sessions recordings on the site that you signed up. Thanks so much. Have a great evening.